Hey guys, I'm Linda Kay Gifford, and look who's, you don't want to be in here? Oh, okay, that's probably not a bad idea, actually. My friend Eden is here. Eden is Willie's best friend, Michael's little sister. You leaving?
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye, sweetie. They just went to Sky Zone. Willie drove them to Sky Zone for the first time. Oh, that's crazy. So today's topic is complicated. There's so much going on in the world and in my own personal life that I've been, again, sitting here for like half an hour playing music and just like, I mean, I make lots of notes and an outline and all, but then one's mind drifts, especially when things just kind of come up. And something just came up where someone made a joke. It was a joke, I can't remember the specifics, but he said that a man needs 3 things in a woman, and that was, one was to challenge him, you know, and one was to take great care of the kids, and one was to be a great lover. And he's like, and then just make sure none of them meet each other. And I'm like, ha ha ha, that's so funny. That's fucking hilarious. I think that's so fucking hilarious. I'm going to have a drink and think a little more about how hilarious it is to imply that women are just commodities. I mean, duh, it's no surprise. That's what we talk about all the time. Women are bought and sold, and we're commodities. I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Linda Kay Gifford. I am the author of the soon-to-be released, I'm still finishing it, the last touches. I'm putting it all together, putting all the pieces together. But you can read the first 7 chapters pinned to the top of this Facebook page. It's Linda Kay Gifford Self-Talk, but the name is changing as soon as Facebook will drop the Linda Kay Gifford to just Self-Talk, my continuing efforts to survive childhood sexual abuse, because that's really what we do here and in the survivor group that I do these streams and I talk with people individually, and we're getting close. I keep working on getting together a Zoom meeting. We're gathering people to do that and kind of getting it formatted and all. And so it really helps me in writing my book. I also own feelgoodfairtrade.com, and I also started the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund. I'm awaiting my nonprofit status, but you can still contribute now at GoFundMe page and Facebook fundraiser pages by that name. Once my nonprofit status comes, we'll roll it over onto GoFundMe and Facebook charity pages, because they have like 2 different. If you're a giver, I'm a regular giver on there, you know what I'm talking about. And it would be very much appreciated. I can't talk today. God, I swear this is my first 5% seltzer. I endorse Truly lemon tea. I guess it's the first time I've tried it. It works. It'll be okay. So we were talking about self-esteem yesterday, and I'm watching the news. I hear that joke that was actually last night, and then I see them arguing, of course, about gun control, like we do every time a bunch of people get shot up in America. And the Republicans say, oh, that's what you always do. You bring it up now, and this is not an inappropriate time to bring it up. We can't bring it up any other time, so I don't know when an appropriate time is, and that's the catch-22 that we've been in for a very long time. So then I see them arguing, some congressman, I think it was, I'm going to go with names, although I did write it down on him, arguing that an AR-15... it's not a military weapon, because the anchor accidentally said military style weapons, and he's like, no, it's not a military weapon. She's like, I didn't say that. But obviously it shoots multiple bullets rapidly out of a magazine. So it is akin to a weapon of war, certainly. And drawing those thin lines was all the congressman would agree to do while trying to ridicule. And as you all know, if this is your first time, I am used to be a gun owner. I'm about to be a gun owner again. I am not at all opposed to weapons. I just think we need to be not stupid about it. That's all. Don't be stupid. So we talked a little bit yesterday. I'm going to just touch on this because I want to get deep in today about as it pertains to sexual abuse survivors of any kind, and especially those who were survivors of long-term humiliating types of abuse, be it sexual or physical of any kind, or emotional humiliation, renders people unable to seek help. They're too busy shaming and blaming themselves, and they haven't consciously put it all together. I mean, I've come pretty far in this journey, and it's taken me a long time. I mean, I was in my mid-30s before I even decided to deal at all. Before I even realized I didn't decide, I needed to. Where it started rearing its ugly head more. I realize now that I've always had serious difficulties because of being mistressized, groomed as a child. And so grooming and the overall paradoxes in society that set us up to where it's almost not surprising that we get groomed. I mean, what else do you think is going to happen when you set society up to where you want a lady on the streets and a whore in the bedroom? I mean, could not it just be said that someone who you like in the daytime, and is presentable socially and maybe holds down a job, whatever you call a lady, is good with the kids, could not they have vigorous, energetic sex and enjoy it a whole lot without being called a whore? So you see where I'm going with this. You know, it's all over. Not just our culture, but all kinds of cultures. Everyone wants dick or pussy, at least most people want one or the other or both. But then we disparage those things. Who's a bad guy? He's a dick. Who is, a weak person, male or female? What a pussy. These things aren't little deals. It sets up an entire way of, our brains cross-reference these terms and make these associations, even if we're not doing it consciously. It's just a way of life. So it's a way of life then to present sexually and then revert into somebody that's not sexual, that your partner doesn't want to be with anymore, because now you're nurturing and proper and you're focusing on that. And it's like, if you go for the whore in the bedroom thing, which is the route most women I think will go, slap on the whatever, put on the leather, do the whatever, if that's the fantasy, they'd rather do that than not keep their man, or else they just don't care. And I don't know, they fall into staleness, or they end up breaking up. I shouldn't say they're man, I should say they're woman too. Whoever's the one with the sex drive. In my relationships, I'm always the one with the sex drive, and nobody cares. Well, nobody used to care. We won't go there. Everybody knows how giddy happy I am, and I don't need to tell you again how giddy happy I am. But I will say that becoming giddy happy in a relationship for the first time in my life, I am making realizations even more. I mean, I started writing this book long before I became giddy happy in a relationship. So now I'm like, oh my. So much to think about. So many things I got wrong before, but so much I got right. So much I got right. And a lot of what I got right was that I was set up just like every non-abused person. I mean, I don't see how someone who has not been
sexually abused finds any self-esteem in the society the way it is? How do they? How? I'm getting a message from my son. How do you find self-esteem in a society that tells you you have to be this, and then once you get what you want, then you have to flip and be that, and then what you want doesn't want you anymore. So now, you have to play games and invent alter egos, including an alter ego that makes you someone that I don't want to be associated with. I want energetic, fun, vigorous sex, but I don't want to be called a whore. I don't want to be associated with somebody who's doing it for money. I don't want to be bought, sold, kept, traded. And most women would agree with me. But when you look at a whole lot of those same women who would agree with me's lives, they're doing just the opposite. They're doing something different. I suddenly have a feeling this is upside down. Am I like taping upside down? I'm gonna look it up on my other line. I have a customer service line too. I suddenly think I'm upside down. I had it sideways the other day again. I don't know how I do these things. I taped it sideways, but it was vertical sideways. That was skitty. So it took me like a while to rotate that. And all of a sudden I'm like, I wonder if I am upright. Oh good, I appear to be upright.
Deep into day.
Nice, okay. Back to the topic. Okay. I needed to break from that topic anyway. It's kind of hardcore for me. Where we're going with this. This is one of the deeper, harder things to talk about. So when we dress little girls sexy, and when we call, okay, this is huge. This is huge. How normal is it in our society to hear somebody refer to their partner, if it's a man, as their old man, which is what you would call your dad, or also to call their partner daddy? And also, how common is it? I have been multiple times by people called little girl or baby doll. These things are filthy and disgusting. What they do is reflect the filthy, disgusting perversion of child pornography and pedophilia. There's no healthy outlet for that sort of thing. And the fact that we have adopted these terms in our society is gross. It's gross. And it sets us up, beyond being gross, it sets us up on deep-seated emotional levels to never be balanced, to never find a balanced place. Am I going to be a lady on the street or a whore in the bed? Somehow I need to feel balanced inside myself, that I'm good enough as who I am. So again, all over society, we joke about like how badly that we need sex, and then we demonize our sex drives. We talk about like a soldier, and it's always one-sided too. It's always like, oh, she better get ready. The soldier's coming home from war. This could be a woman soldier too now, so let's try to leave the sex out of it. And someone says, oh, they're gonna get it. It's like being abused. They're saying it in terms, they mean it like, oh, this is good, but they're saying it in terms that sound abusive. And so I'd like to see this change. I'd like to see us realize that doing these things creates so much chaos and confusion. So many people are confused. Okay, we're thinking if I want to go here.
because I had a couple of questions, a couple of questions that, and one of them is really intense. We got into a really intense discussion, and of course I'm not going to name names, but I have a person I'm talking with who shared with me that they had, like me, had been abused, actually by 3 different family or peripheral family members. Sounds like a really nasty bunch. I don't know how this person escaped. This person doesn't have, you know, the means. This person hasn't really completely escaped. I'm still tied into the system, and shared with me that they have a that when they fantasize, that the only thing that makes her feel sexual is rape fantasies of being raped and attacked. And she thought she was a sicko. And I'm no scholar, I'm no doctor, but for my own purposes, I have studied and read other accounts, and that is not an uncommon thing. It's not an uncommon thing, and I was giving it a whole lot of thought actually this morning at about 4 and couldn't sleep. And so by 5, I was scribbling in my notebook in the dark. So let's see. It seemed at the time, when you have been in an inappropriate sexual situation that's not violent rape, but inappropriate, and you feel guilty and shameful for it for whatever reason, as I've said before, sexual stimulation is still sexual stimulation. It's still a real thing. You're still going to feel it. And so when you get into a situation, I have talked before about, multiple times about how that translates into being in a relationship you want to be in, where you're being treated well and you're just dealing with triggers in order to overcome past likes and dislikes and fears and such. But this is different. This is where the person's similar but different. It's when you have been in a situation where, however much you didn't want to be there, you felt sexual stimulation that was pleasurable, and you confused it at that time over and over and over again, and got ingrained with guilt and shame. It's difficult, and it's not unusual to then have that fantasy. And I'm going to go so far as to say this is one of the first things I dealt with in my sexual abuse counseling. I also had a being raped fantasy, and that was the only way that I could masturbate to orgasm. When I first learned how to masturbate, I only had rape fantasies, and I thought I was sicko. I thought I was horrible. I buried that shit so deep then for so long, and every time it would rear its ugly head, did nothing about it. So when I actually started talking with an actual qualified therapist, counselor, in my mid-30s, and realized, this goes along with when I'm talking about the shame is not yours and all these steps. I didn't just pop this shit off the top of my head. I worked for this, because I made a decision that I wanted to someday maybe have a fulfilling sex life, and I knew that I had to unravel this stuff. I didn't say to myself, someday I want to have a good sex life, so I'm going to unravel this. It didn't happen like that. It was more like I had to unravel it just because it was now present in my mind and my emotions, and that prohibited me from pretending anymore. Up till then I could pretend to have decent sex, and I could pretend to be somebody's partner, and I was pretty good at pretending for a while, but that stuff, there's only so long you can flap a target in the breeze before a bullet's gonna put a hole in it. And you're just gonna realize it's windy. And I don't like that whistle I hear in my ear now. Okay. So I moved on and I'm done a lot of work. That is why I'm coaching now. That is why I would love to help you, because I've truly arrived at a very satisfying place. I used to break down if any of this ever came up. I mean, even in my mid-30s, if any of this came up, I couldn't even talk about it. And now I'm dissecting it, taking it apart. Some people aren't happy about that at all, but you know what? This is my life and this is my world. And I am so happy to find that I'm able to help other people on this journey to self-fulfillment. So, again, this is a hardcore topic today. Looking in the news, you know, I tied together just these just people that just are mentally ill, as we call it, and they just go kill a bunch of people. You know, are they just straight up evil, whatever? Well, there's a whole lot involved here, and I'm not going to say what is and is not true, but I will say that definitely they are wallowing in a very, very non-supportive society and confusing society, where it's hard to know who to be and how to be and what is acceptable on any level, much less sexually. So maybe we should examine some of these things and drop some of the ways that we talk about sex. Stop talking about sex all wrong. Stop making it sound dirty and sleazy at the same time as you promote it. You know, I tell my kids sex is great and joyous and wonderful, at least it should be. I'm like, I'm still looking for that, but I have found it now. But I was still looking at the time I told them that. And it's like, you know, I've just totally always been straight up with them about everything. And I want them to have joyous lives, and I don't want them to marginalize women or men or our LGBTQIA communities. And I'm so lucky, I'm so grateful to say that, and it's not just luck, I'm telling you, if you learn to do it the way I'm doing it, if you do life the way I'm doing life, you're going to have better relationships with your kids, you're going to have a better relationship with yourself, you're going to learn to enjoy sex more. It's a daily thing. It is. That's why we talk every day. And like I said, we're about to expand this bigger. I just kind of got really caught up in some other projects that all happened at once here with Sweet Survivor. And we're going to expand soon here to like a Zoom interactive kind of thing. So, that being said, I want to wrap up here. Oh, and I want to end on not correcting a slam. I agree with myself. Someone's like, it's really wrong of you to come down on AA because so many people have been helped by the higher power thing, the 12 steps, and you've got to give it over to God, or you got to give it over to a higher power, or whatever yours is. And I'm like, and they argued that, well, the higher power can be any religion or whatever, and it's, or not, you know. So I'm like, okay, I listened to all that and thought about it, and I still agree with me. There is a God force in the world. The God force that I define, the thing I define as the God force is goodness and kindness and love, and the thing that makes me want to get up and go and help people, and the thing that makes me have empathy for someone who's suffering, and the thing that makes me feel love and joy, and that thing, that's the God force. And I think, obviously, I've said many times, we're all just expressing the God force. People of all religions, unless we're trying to control, manipulate, and stomp all over the other one, and that happens a whole lot too. So yeah, let's get over that. But as far as the 12-step thing and the whole higher power thing, as long as you can define the higher power as something that's already within you that you can draw on from yourself, I will agree. Other than that, I stand by me in saying
as previously stated, that the higher power idea will lead you astray. You're giving it up to something else. And that's what they say, give it up to something else. No. Because then when you fail, then you can blame something else. And everyone's going to slide a little. Don't consider that failure, by the way. I said fail. Maybe that's too strong of a word. Give it up to yourself. Give it up to your future, your health. Give it up to not drinking yourself to death like my niece just did 2 weeks ago. Accidentally, but in despair. You know, your higher power can only be within you, because if you're reaching outside for some higher power outside of yourself, then you're addicted to the higher power. And that's what they're trying to do, substitute addictions. I mean, that's in the literature. Don't substitute one addiction for another. Just get holistically better. You can do that. We can do it. We'll do it together. All right? Support the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund at Facebook and GoFundMe pages by that name. Shop at feelgoodfairtrade.com, where we support women artisans. And I mean, like, we know these people. We know the companies. We can show you the artisans. On every product page at feelgoodfairtrade.com, you will see the artisans. And exciting things are happening with the Earth 2.0 fundraising collections too. So I don't want to go into all that today. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I will be driving tomorrow though, so I may not be on time. I'll do a driving one a little bit early. We'll probably do this about 4 o'clock tomorrow. Talk to you then. I can't turn it off. There we go. Just finished. Just finished. Whoa, I thought we were done. Are we still running?